Dearest gentle listeners, you are listening to the Ladies Bridgerton, the talk of the ton. We are your effervescent hosts, your neighborhood-friendly Kiwi Tash from Middle Earth, New Zealand.
I'm Patty, Regency romance enthusiast who is currently writing her unapologetic and audacious era.
Settle down onto your favorite settee as we delve into the lives of the elite and illustrious ladies, lords, and royalty of the ton. This Bridgerton podcast is two friends talking romance, symbolism, Easter eggs, and deep diving into the connections of our favorite characters. We cover both book, TV series, and notable social media, and therefore will contain spoilers.
I really want to get the voice of the guy that was Audrey too in Little Shop of Horrors. If he ever sings the word deep in any song, which I have to look that up, I want to get that as a clip because he's got such a deep, and every time you think of a way to do it, all I can think of is instead of feed me, like, because he's like, feed me, Seymour. I just wanted to be like, okay, deep, we're deep diving.
Do you know what time it is?
Tangent Squad.
No,
well, Tangent Squad. Oh, I'm not going to do my part. Oh, I wrote it after. Oh, wait.
I was like, what's happening?
Things around. It's still new to me. Pod snacks.
Pod snacks.
Pod snacks today are brought to you by my work friend because I ordered from her restaurant and I would like to throw out a retraction to my discussing her a couple of weeks ago when we were talking mac and cheese. They had to change their name. So they had to change their name because the name was already established on another small business in another state. So they are now Solely Mac. So if you are ever in or around Akron, Ohio, you can order Solely Mac, SOLIMAC. And today I got the brisket mac and cheese, and it's fantastic. And I suggest, as I did, ordering a side of crispy fried onions and putting them on top.
Patty let me choose out her snacky lacks today, which was very exciting. She said no executive functioning will be done today. Please decide for me. And she gave me the options. And my option will always be mac and cheese. In exciting news of the week, my husband...
Wait, what's your pod snack?
Coffee.
Then we'll do news.
Coffee.
Wait, you had your McDonald's?
I did before we started.
I know you
recording.
had your hash brown because you almost lost it.
The hash brown was not deep diving. Was feeling a little bit lackluster, and she snapped.
That hash brown's name was Marina.
It did a little flippy flop. Was not a Mr. Finji. Did a little flippy flop and landed on the floor. Did she still eat it? Yes, she did.
5-second rule. You clean your own house. It's your house. That's what I like. This is my house. I know how I clean my house. So if I'm willing to eat something that fell on the floor, that's on me.
Yeah. And
that is my true, authentic Patty of the day.
Yep, it was a hashy bee from Mackie D's. It was glorious, and now I am drinking my mid-morning laxative.
Okay, we have so much news.
Yes. So my exciting news of the week is that my husband and I have just bought a new house. Thankfully, it is only 5 minutes from where we are currently, but in a exponentially better school zone. And I'm still local, only 5 minutes further away from my favorite Bunnings. So life is good.
I was like, how far from Bunnings? How far from McDonald's? How far from that other coffee shop you talked about?
It's an extra 5 minutes from McDonald's, which is probably a really good thing for my double chins.
Okay, what about your Indian or Thai takeaway? How far away are you from that?
Same distance. So we're good.
Same distance.
We're good.
Yeah, you're good.
We're good. Yeah.
Okay.
To be fair,
my news is also Bridgerton related. So
yes, so exciting.
I'm gonna tell the news that Luke Newton is going to be doing an off-Broadway production called House of McQueen at a brand new theater, and it's a restaurant. And I guess they built onto it a theater or renovated a space into a theater. I'm not sure. I read about it, and it's a theater now. There's a theater there. And this will be the first production. So Patty is a theater nerd. Like, I'm such a theater kid. I was in drama in high school. I was a theater major for my first foray into college. I love theater. I love everything about it. And I am so excited that when I saw this was a thing, I of course reached out immediately. I have a group text chat with Kay and Anne
yeah.
from when we went
R.I.P. Die.
From Di is not local, but what's
she
funny
wanted to
is
be.
a couple weeks later she's supposed to be in Canada
I
and
know.
she's like, oh, could we do this? But like for us, timing wise, it worked out better for previews because A, it's cheaper. I think with Luke Newton as a draw, the actual shows when they open are going to be more expensive.
Yeah.
And so we immediately went looking and we got front row A, front row. I need to say this again. Front row.
Close enough that if Patty were to wear a shirt that says part of the big titty committee, was it big titty? No, it was the Perfect Breast Club.
Community.
Perfect Breast Community, then he would be able to read it and he would know one of us.
No, see, I don't even have to do that. If I just find the right shirt with the right cleavage, he'll know.
He goes, I'm really missing Nicola today. I should really call her. Something here is reminding me of her.
Something, yeah. Like he looks down, it's like, oh, Nicola. Oh, wait, that's not Nicola. But I've already said this week, like, I'm going to be able to see Luke Newton sweat because when you're close, I've only been to one other theater production where I wasn't that close. I was in the fourth row and it just is amazing. Like, I love theater. Like, I'll sit anywhere. I've sat in mezzanine. I've sat in balcony. Like, you get different perspectives of the show that way. You don't get to see their whole face. At least I don't. I don't have 20/20 vision.
Patty wants to be able to smell this man's sweat.
Well, and I'll say there's only one theater actor that I will not be in the first probably 5 rows of, and that's Jonathan Groff, the guy that was the original King George, because it's literally known as Groff sauce. Like he spits
a lot.
He enunciates. So there's no way. He enunciates harsh. So like, and if Luke turns out to be the same way, because Patty
is taking a bowl to collect his DNA to clone him.
I'll be like Sheldon. I can make my
own Leonard Nimoy.
Okay, now they're going to be like,
wasn't it? It was Leonard Nimoy.
Oh yeah, he's gonna make Leonard Nimoy. I said Luke Newton. This is all in jest. I am a normal person, Luke Newton. If you hear this before I come, I promise.
This is just jokes. Just the jokes.
This is just joke. I will probably be stone cold silent, like, and you're not gonna get that because of truncating. Anyways. But what else is amazing to me on this is I've never been to a preview. I get to go to a preview. This is pre the show's official open.
So is this like kind of like the soft launch?
Yes, it's a soft launch.
Which is more than he's done for poor Ant.
Ouch. Ouch. But it's awesome because in previews and what I know of previews, things can not necessarily go wrong, but they're still working out certain kinks and things. So for me as a theater
Patty is more than willing to watch you work out your kinks, Luke.
But so it's a new show in a new theater and it's the previews and the tickets were reasonable enough that we could have front row. Like I am ecstatic. And Luke has been so busy, like so much posting to the IG. He went to an F1 race.
Yes, Formula One. Yeah. And
that
the boss
was with Boss. Well, that's where the Boss campaign came from because he went as their guest or whatever and he pictures. Yeah. And then he also went to Wimbledon, but that was for somebody else. He was the guest of another company. Yes. I can't remember. But he was at the last day of Wimbledon or whatever, sporting a skull ring is like the big news around town, like a big deal. But I think that, because is it Lee Alexander McQueen? I think it's Lee Alexander. The character he's playing is a real life dude who had a really big life and was real edgy and stuff like that. So some of this look that's coming out is a mix of Luke and a mix of this guy. And P.S. This is why he came out with that buzz cut. He looks a lot like this artist designer.
He does actually.
So super excited about that. And I would just want to say congrats, Johnny Bailey, and your slutty.
As long as it does not come back as another Wigbert situation because he shaved his hair off. Down with Wigbert.
Okay. Note to Bridgerton, all reshoot must only include Luke Thompson and Yer and Ha. You're not bringing back our man Luke Newton and throwing Wigbert on his head again. That cannot happen. Cannot.
The people have spoken. The people will riot.
We will riot. We did not like Wigbert, although we were able to use it to tell what you did as a reshoot and what you didn't.
Yeah.
So thank you for those of us who are neurospicy for giving us that little tidbit.
Okay.
Even though Wigbert sucks.
Sorry, go back to your slutty little glasses. Sorry, I interrupted.
So Johnny Bailey, I just want to say congrats. Your slutty little glasses are doing so well at the box office.
Not you, just your glasses.
Not you. Not
they
those
are the
dinosaurs
star.
either. The glasses, yeah, the glasses are the star. I haven't seen it yet because
I've seen enough of it because I follow Mr. the teacher, hot teacher. He does all the Johnny Bailey content. He's a psychologist.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Williams.
Mr. Williams posted a thing the other day and he was like, this is everything that I took from the movie. And it's basically just Johnny Bailey in different poses.
In the water. And he's like, he's in that gross, dirty water. So dirty. Yes. Well, and I just want to say, first of all, thank you to Johnny Bailey and Luke Newton both for being so active right now.
Yes.
That all of your fans on TikTok, like I'm an American, and my TikTok feed, my For You page has been sad. But with your activity, I really wish I had some violin music playing in the background. Some like sad stuff. Your activity has brought Bridger Talk back to my For You page. I'm getting so much Luke Newton and Colin and Penn and Anthony and Kate. And it's like, I feel like I'm coming home. I feel like I'm home.
Okay.
So thank you.
Is that our news for the week done?
Oh, and say we officially had a short that went over 2,000 views.
And we officially hit over 20,000 downloads on Spotify this week. So thank you to everyone who has supported us along the way, who have downloaded, who have liked, subscribed, supported, commented, anything that you have done to help us to, get into anyone else's feed. Thank you so much for the support that you offer us. Thank you to our Patreon subscribers, Sarah, and my brain's just Julia. Thank you so much to
Maria and Sadia for giving the ideas.
Sadia for the ideas. Please, if you have any ideas of what you would like us to cover, we really, really do appreciate when you chuck them in, because sometimes our brains don't want to do the executive functioning. It's too much.
We have been requested by KK Chip's man Dude.
Ooh, nice.
To do a Queen Charlotte and George spouse analysis as part of the Bridgerverse, even though they were not
just wants
part
to
of the
see
siblings.
Me cry. That's just mean.
No, that's their favorite season, the two of them.
Yeah,
they want us to analyze them as a couple, not we don't have to rewatch to analyze them as a couple.
Because I've been watching King George in season 1, and it's because rewatching season 1, and because obviously we watched season 1 and then we watched Queen Charlotte, and then I hadn't really gone back and watched a lot of season 1 since then, and it is brutal knowing now what I know, and it's really hard to watch. Okay. Now we must make haste into
no,
not
you
today's episode.
You did not even let me do my intro ever.
We must make haste into today's intro.
We have to hurry so much. There's no intro.
Sorry, Patty.
So we continue our analysis of Penelope with her season 1 journey as it shapes and is shaped by her relationships with others. We discover the depth of Eloise's friendship that was hawk-eyed by Artosh the Kiwi. We discover a clue to her possible notice by Colin early in their journey, and that was from my I Spying Little Eye a little bit ago. And we muse out the manifestation of the Lady Whistledown persona. Penn is a melting pot of all of the people who add their own spice to her experience. Some spice can be stronger than others. Let's cook, Tosh.
Well, speaking of cooking, it's actually quite ironic that you said Tasha's Hawkeyes and I'm a Kiwi, because as we all know, I'm actually extremely blind, and Kiwi birds are also extremely blind and rely on their sense of smell and taste, which is exactly how I get through life.
Well, and I also don't have the best vision.
Speaking of,
but we notice details. I love that about us.
You have tangerine on today, and I actually really vibe with the tangerine. Mandarin.
Yes, because I'm wearing dark blue, so
I like it. I like it.
I like my orange and blue together.
I like my notey notes. I have actually been writing notes again for the Patreon subscribers. You are going to be getting inundated with notes in the next few
Yeah,
days.
I gotta take pictures of mine and upload them.
So we are going to start out, I think where I want to start out is
Well,
kind of
well,
discussing oh, go, yep.
can I? Are we gonna start? I mean, this is Lady Whistledown, but it's not necessarily Penn's relationship to Whistledown, and I want to start there simply because we talked about it in the last episode about how she left the Whistledown for Eloise prior to it being distributed to
Okay, yes,
everyone.
yes.
So it made me think, and it actually came up in a conversation we were having voice noting that we're going to discuss a lot of today.
Hmm.
But if anybody, for the book readers out there, I know some of our listeners have not read the books, but this is specifically for the book readers because
Yeah.
we do search out so many things
Yes.
that correlate with the books because there's a lot that doesn't, especially with Penelope and Colin, that I think this little homage to her delivering that whistle down to Eloise first actually plays into how Whistledown came to be in the books, which we learned in Romancing Mr. Bridgerton, that she wrote it as a joke,
Well,
that she
it
was.
wasn't necessarily a joke. She wrote it as an outlet because she'd gone to these events and she was really unseen. She heard the cruelty of what people were saying about each other, about her, and she kind of wrote it as like almost self-journaling, but in a comical, mean way.
Yes, but I think in the book, because Penn in the book is not as survivalist, not as
Yes.
not as gritty as
Yes.
Chopin.
Yes.
So it was more of a joke. She has a huge sense of humor that not a lot of people get to see.
Yes.
And so she wrote this very sarcastically, and that's why it had the names in it because she wasn't planning on
just for herself.
publicizing it. And her father's solicitor happened to find it on the desk. And it amused him so much, talked her into publishing it, that she would make a lot of money. So we were talking about, and this segues into what we know about Penn from what we know about the show.
Yes.
That we had talked about, what if she did just originally publish it as a joke, and that's why it was free. Like, it was an outlet, yes, but what if it was kind of as a joke between her and Eloise, and she delivered it to Eloise first. She just assumed Eloise was going to get it, right? Eloise was going to know it was her. Eloise was going to figure it out. There was too much about the Bridgertons, too much about like their orderly names, too much about them in particular. And really, the first Whistledown, the only stuff that gets talked about is the Featheringtons and the Bridgertons.
Yes.
Like, why are they the most important people? Like, she thought for sure Eloise would figure it out. I think her goal, because she thought Eloise would get it, and she knew over time Eloise would be mad that she didn't figure it out, that she wanted her to figure it out. So she didn't tell her because she wanted her to figure out it because it was supposed to be a joke between them. But we were musing when you think about everything she manages to glean from a social function, from her observation, like finding out somebody dismissed their maid because they asked for a day off, finding out that a man is a lord is stepping out on his wife and committing all these cruelties, like openly, publicly, promenading with other women.
Well, in my last in the last episode, sorry, I want to tack onto that because I literally just had this thought and I want to get it out before I forget it because we know that. So in the last episode, we talked about how did Penelope know all of these things before she was ever officially out on the ton. I actually think that a lot of her information came from Lady Cowper and Lady Featherington gossiping in the house.
Agreed. I think Cowper showed up at the house far more often.
Yes.
Before, I think the reason Lady Cowper quit showing up and the friendship changed to a public friendship only is because Cressida got the cut from Colin for Penn.
Yeah.
And two, because we all know how Lady Featherington is, and she was trying to use Marina's attention to her advantage for her own girl. And I was listening to the pod that dropped yesterday, which was our part 1, and I didn't get to the point of every other courtship that occurs and the rules of courtship that we hear from Lady Danbury and stuff is that the lesser lords come out first.
Yes.
And then the higher ups come later. Yeah. Or the queen organizes takes you under her wing and she introduces you to somebody that's queen adjacent, right?
Yes.
The first people that show up for Marina, do you remember what their titles
They were all misters, weren't they?
were? Mm-mm.
Was there some lords?
Marquess and an
Wow.
earl.
I don't remember that
Those
at
are the first
all.
two.
Oh, the one reading Lord Byron.
Well, when they first were like at the door, there's a conversation. I can't remember if it's a conversation or it's right when they come to the door.
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah.
But when they talk about it, it was or no, but like it was somebody announcing them. And I the reason it caught my attention is because they said instead of saying Marquess, they said like Marquise.
Yeah.
So in season 1 it was Marquise, in season 3 it was Marquess.
Marquess.
So it was a Marquise, which is a Marquess, or maybe the French version, I don't know. But that's still the higher up title.
Yes.
A Marquess is higher than Duke.
Yes.
So Marina's
Oh wait, no. Duke is Duke,
Marquess,
and then
then
Marquess,
Duke.
and then Earl, and then Viscount, then Baron.
Yeah, so Marina right out the gate had a Marquess and a Duke. And when you look at the first people that came for Daphne, because she ended up with a Duke,
Yes.
which is why I think a Duke could not come to see Marina because Daphne was the diamond and this is Bridgerton and
Yes.
you know, whatever. But she still had some pretty high up there titles coming to see her.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not how it normally works. So Marina was an oddball from the jump.
But we also don't know that, because obviously we know that within the ton there is even titles within titles, and that is depending on how eccentric you are and how accepted you are by the ton. Like the Bridgertons are very highly revered despite not necessarily being the highest title, but because they are 9 generations deep, they hold a lot more respect.
True, like this Marquess might not have been.
He might have been
special.
a bit of an eccentric. He might have been a little bit odd. They might have had a little bit of money issues, so they could have been extenuating circumstances.
I know, but let me ask you a question. In the world of Portia Featherington, if a Marquess showed up and said they wanted Marina's hand in marriage, like if everything didn't occur the way it occurred, if it would have gone a little, if it would have been like Daphne was talking the whole time of, oh, so and so wore this colored dress and she got an offer the next day.
Yes,
you know what I mean? Like there's not even any courtship or get to know anything in that scenario.
Yes. What's quite
what if
funny,
that happened with Marina? What if Marquess showed up and then came to, well, he would go to Lord Featherington because he was still present then. But what if he showed up and Portia would be like using that to her advantage? Well, your cousin is with the Marquess. My girls, like they're Marquess adjacent now. That ups their value.
And one of the things that you had pointed out in a very, very, very previous episode is the fact that Marina and Penelope swap colors. But what I noticed through my thing is when Marina shows up, she's predominantly wearing like a very, very soft pink most of the time. As soon as she gets engaged to Colin, she's wearing yellow, and Penelope has gone into pink, which she specifically said her mother will not let her wear.
Actually, her mother will let her wear pink because her dress in the drawing room was yellow with a pink overlay of stitching. There's a lot of pink to her dress. But remember, and her hairpiece is pink.
She, in the one of the very first episode, if not the first, maybe the second episode, when she says,
dance, she said, my mother will, my mother will not let me wear a dress like this. Yes. Not enough yellow. Yes, it is all pink. Her mother lets her wear pink, but Penelope has to have a form of yellow on her person somewhere.
But when Marina gets engaged to Colin, Marina is in all yellow, Penelope is in all pink. And then when it goes to the engagement is broken off, Penelope is in all yellow, Marina is in all pink.
Yes. And I think costuming playing into the story, I think a lot of that is that
people align Colin with yellow.
People align Colin with yellow, yes, but Colin is aligned with yellow. Like we know he has so much yellow and it's because he's always had feelings for Pen.
Yes.
But I think that is a symbol to us that while he has these feelings for Pen, it is still possible to get waylaid when you're young. And it is still a possibility that, and I had the best conversation with my friend Leah today, who was not like, she's not a crazy Delulu. I'll say Delulu. We're not crazy. She is not a Delulu Bridgerton fan. But I was talking about the movie and how, I got to remember this exactly how it came out of my mouth time. So we know how the pressers, this plays into that last scene. Hold off. Let me write this down because this is not a formal
Okay. Do you want?
and I don't
Okay.
want to forget. Hold
Okay.
on.
You write it
Hold on.
down,
Hold
and
on.
I'll start on my piece. So one of the parts
Well, I
that.
still didn't say the other thing.
Sorry, you go ahead then. I thought you said you wanted to write it
Real
down.
quick, I do want to write this down. This is different, but I want to go back to what I originally was talking about is Whistledown being published like as a joke for Eloise.
That was where I was going to next.
Oh, you were going to like what she observes? Okay, because that fits into why she continues writing Whistledown
Yes.
then.
So that's
Okay, go
I've
ahead
got it
then.
highlighted.
Sorry, I
Okay.
apologize. So
we're a team. We're just so this is basically how our voice notes have gone for the last few days. Is I'm like, oh, and this and this and this, and then Patty's like,
oh
oh,
yeah,
and what
yeah,
about
yeah.
this? And I'm like, yes, and this and this and this. So we've actually been quite like very. We go through waves where we just like incessantly voice note when we do go back and rewatch things that we haven't watched in a while, which is fantastic because it kind of revitalizes our passion and enthusiasm for finding out the little details. One of the statements that Lady Whistledown writes in one of her not letters, not journals, articles,
Pamphlet,
yeah,
society papers,
society paper, actually alludes to why Penelope may have started Lady Whistledown in the start. So this Lady Whistledown starts out just after the announcement of Marina being pregnant. The whole town knows. So it starts all is fair in love and war, but some battles leave no victor, only a trail of broken hearts that makes us wonder if the price we pay is ever worth the fight. The ones we love have the power to inflict the greatest scars. For what thing is more fragile than a human heart? The bond between man and bride is private and sacred. But I must tell you that a grave fraud is afoot. This is the important line here. As if the Featheringtons did not have enough to be dealing with, Miss Marina Thompson is with child and has been from the very first day she arrived in our fair city. Desperate times may call for desperate measures, but I would wager many think her actions beyond the pale. Perhaps she thought it were her only option, or perhaps she knows no shame. But I ask you, can the ends ever really justify such wretched mean? Now, the important part in that is, what does the ton know that Lady Whistledown is so casually mentioning in a way that alludes to us that everyone of the ton knows what the Featheringtons are going through? As if the Featheringtons did not have enough to be dealing with, the ton is well aware of the fact that Archibald has gambling debts, and I would wager a guess as well that all the women in the ton who were in the Modiste know that they are unable to pay their bills, that Portia is racking up bills around town left, right, and center with her very light-handed, heavy-handed spending, and Archibald has racked up debts everywhere with his gambling. So I don't think you can necessarily blame one or the other. I mean, granted, Archibald 100% in the wrong, but I think Penelope is actually aware of the fact, and possibly her sisters too, but they're a little bit more dense than Penelope. But I think that Penelope is aware that her parents are desperately in need of money because they have both gotten themselves into substantial debt. And we kind of mused out whether Penelope kind of started Lady Whistledown as a bit of a joke, a bit of an outlet, a bit of an inside joke with Eloise, and then realized just how deep in the crap that her parents are, and that she had to do something to protect herself because she knows in life no one is going to protect her except for herself. That is what her mum has taught her. We see it happening with Cressida and Lady Cowper. Lady Cowper is saying, all for one for, like, you are out for yourself. Do not rely on others. And that is what Portia has also taught her daughter. Because keep in mind, Portia and Lady Cowper were friends until it was no longer convenient. Mm-hmm. So they have been taught in their life, both Cressida and Penelope, take care of yourself because no one else will.
Well, and I just want to bring into it, like, we understand from the first ball, as Antony is describing all of the men and how he puts down that first guy, Lord Ambrose or Lord whatever his name was.
Lord Ambrose, yeah.
Because of his debts at the club, right?
Yes.
And Daphne's like, oh, I didn't know. I wouldn't have known. So there's a lot of public talk, and that conversation's very public, and it's at the ball. So, Penn being on the wall, hearing all these different conversations.
Yes.
But we do know, let's fast forward to the ball where very public display of distress, a very big faux pas by Miss Philippa Featherington, because her Mr. Finch will no longer look her in the eye after he spoke with her papa.
Yes.
So then did Portia take Archibald to a dining room to have a private conversation? No, they had the conversation right out on the side of the dance floor.
Yeah.
And like, we have ladies, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, I don't think we're going to let any of them go this year. And he specifically says money. Like, he's like, yes, we don't want to have that kind of expenditure and all that. So this is going to go around.
Yes.
And this is Penelope. Imagine
someone listening. Always.
Imagine her being 17. And okay, perfect thing. I had this conversation with my friend today too. You grow up in a specific way in your home, and you believe that to be normal because that's all you know.
Yes.
And then when you're a teenager, you start like going and spending the night at your friend's house, or you go off to college and you start experiencing like I spent a weekend at Smaug's house. So I kind of saw a little bit into how his family dynamics. I would go and spend weekends with my friend Anthony at his parents' house. 100% Italians, best meatballs of my life. And I saw how their family dynamic was. When my friend Trinice got married, we spent 2 nights with her family over the preparing for the wedding and the wedding day, 2 days, with the family. So, and her parents had come to visit a couple times. So we had that, and I was always at my friend Teresa's house or my friend Carol Lee's house. You see how different families' dynamics are different. And imagine being Penn and growing up and thinking your family is this certain way and the dynamic is this certain way, and then coming out into and she experienced different going to the Bridgertons all the time. So she already knew her family was odd. Like, she sees, because the Bridgertons have been the first son of a first son of a first son of a first son for 9 generations. Penelope, being a reader, like understanding this is how society's supposed to be. This is how they're supposed to comport themselves. This feels real and authentic. And I love this feeling being at this house. It feels safe. It feels there's love here, whatever. It's different from my house. And then to go out in public and to be walking past people talking, realize they're about your father, your mother, and especially father because of the gambling and how much he owed, and understanding how her mother's acting now and putting 2 and 2 together. That's a lot for a 17-year-old to come to grips with. Yes. And I think that yes, she started out Whistledown to feel safe and to have an outlet for her own voice. But I think that's why we kind of see what Whistledown becomes towards the end of season 1 and into the beginning of season 2, and how she wants it to be a business, because now Archibald is deceased. We know there's no money. We know it, her mother fluctuates so much between excitement and despair, and it's always over money. Like, Penn doesn't want that for herself. And that's why Whistledown became a business rather than a joke, rather than a writing outlet. And that's why she made some of the decisions she made, because she needed to protect herself and her future. She'd already sabotaged. She didn't think.
Speaking of Penelope kind of changing through season 1 in order to protect herself, that is one of the next things I want to talk about, is Penelope's relationship with Marina and how it changes. So because in the first half of season 1, we talked about how Penelope kind of latched onto Marina as like a safety net in her household. And then in the second half of season 1, like episodes 5 onwards, after the announcement of Marina's pregnancy comes out, well, even before that point, like once Penelope realizes that Marina is willing to take down anyone for her own selfish gains, and granted, it's not entirely selfish because she is looking out for babies, but I don't think she's honestly doing it for the babies. I think she was doing it for her own personal gain. She kind of was that kind of person. She wasn't the nicest of person. And I think that her doing that made Penelope take off the rose-tinted glasses with her, but also kind of, it was that little bit of realization moment, like the Cowpers, of girls are not your friends. They are your enemy. They are your competition. It kind of reinforced Penelope that is true. Everyone is your competition. Everyone will shit on you. Everyone will knock you down to get what they want. Because how do we see Marina treat Penelope the second that she realizes that Penelope has feelings for her? She doesn't just say, you are like Eloise to him. You are a little sister. She goes, he thinks of you like Eloise. No, not even Eloise, who isn't even on the marriage mat yet, because she's possibly a few months younger than Penelope, but also not ready to be on the marriage mat. She doesn't even say you are like her. She says he thinks of you like Hyacinth, a baby, not even someone who should be on the marriage mark yet. Like she's the same age as Eloise, and yet Marina tries to tear her down so much to equate her to being a literal child, a 11, 12-year-old. Because I think in season one, Hyacinth would have been 10 to 11 years old, is what we calculated roughly. Because now she's
Roughly, she
about
was like
14 in season three.
she was 14 in season 3, so yeah, she's 11, 12.
Yeah. So Marina is equating her to a literal child who may not even have her courses yet. Like that level
Yeah.
of child. That was our Barb, if I've ever heard one.
Well,
Um,
and not only that, talking about Marina, the mean girl, if we want to look at her, because honestly, and I'm gonna get very, I'm gonna tell a story that you already know that, and I'm not sure if I told it on the pod before. And if I did, I apologize. But this equates to me, and I was a lot older. Well, not a lot older. I was 20, 21 when I made this friend. I became friends with someone. We became best friends. Like we were thick as thieves. She and I hung out with two guys. Like the four of us were all friends, but she was like my best girlfriend. Like we even ended up deciding to live together, like in a dorm. We got a dorm room together the next year. We were attached at the hip every day, saw each other every single day. Only the guy that she liked, he and I ended up connected briefly, for a little bit, and it bothered. And I learned one day as we're walking and we're having an argument,
mhm.
and mind you, she's 5 foot, 5'1", little thing, little skinny thing, and I'm me. Like back then, I was probably I won't say 100 pounds, but I was smaller than it's still big. And she said to me that she chose me as a friend because I would make look attractive. And
Awful thing to say.
I think that Penelope went through something kind of similar. Marina latched onto her, like they latched onto each other when it was all like the romance of talking about George. And Penelope thought she could learn a thing or two from somebody who seemed to be more worldly than her. Like she looked up to her. This is the first time she's had a friend this close. Like, yes, her and Eloise are close, but she's also missing that connection with the sister. And her two sisters and she do not have close relationships. So this isn't just a friendship to her. She's trying to create a sisterhood with her cousin. Like she believes this is her cousin and their family. And she's trying to create a familial bond that she's missing from her sisters. And she's really looking up to this girl, much like I think she looked up to Daphne of the Bridgertons as a big sister. But she just wasn't getting that connection there because Daphne was busy. So I think as time went on, Marina kind of used that to her advantage. Like, because Marina was in a way, right? She was pregnant, and like you just don't be pregnant and not married. And the easy method would have been to get married off to an aged person, and a lot of women did that at the time. But she also was not sure at that point in time yet if George was really gone. If he was not writing her back, if whatever. She didn't know what was going on with George yet, and she was keeping her torch lit for George. So I think the reason she chose Colin originally was to appease Portia. She knew Portia wanted alignment with the Bridgertons, and Colin was young and impressionable, as she said. But she also knew Colin was somebody that if George showed up tomorrow, she'd be like, this was my betrothed. I thought something happened to him in the war. I'm so sorry. Break your heart. I don't care. But when the letter came potentially that, he didn't want her or whatever. However Portia wrote that, I don't remember. She forged.
That he denied that the baby was his.
Denied the child. He denied the child, yes. So as she went through that, then she decides to look at Colin like, okay, I can make this happen. I already had one man fall in love with me. I can again, you know what I'm saying? Only I think the more she spent time with Colin and the more she saw how close Colin and Penn were, I think she connected the dots, and she needed to squash that on Penn's side, because if Penn said anything, she believed Colin would go, oh, no, see, this is my Penn. If Penn likes me too, I'm sorry.
You're done.
So she did a single white female moment where she starts donning the colors of Penn. And acting more like Penn did around Colin, like laughing at his jokes. Like in the drawing room where they're laughing so hard, like she's laughing at his jokes and she's doing all those things.
But she has no idea what he's even saying.
Penn did it naturally and authentically. And I think that's like the big deal of the olive joke in season 2. Because if you
Yes.
look at their quote unquote courtship in season one, every scene they're in where he tells a joke, Marina's laughing so hard, like back and forth, mouth wide open, laughing.
Yeah.
And then when he says, I oiled my way right in, and she looks at him like,
What's the
what
joke?
are you even doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, what are you doing right now? That it's the difference is Colin was learning a lesson of fake and authentic. And, we can get into more of that, especially when we start talking season three. But Marina was fake, and Marina used what she saw Penn naturally had with
Yes.
Colin and used it. And I think she saw that Colin had an affinity for yellow.
Yes.
So she started wearing it. And we also have that moment where Portia says, we need to go to the Modis. She needs to wear the family colors anyway. And now all of a
Yes.
sudden Marina's showing up in yellow.
Yeah.
Part of me thinks that maybe Portia kind of knew that Colin had a thing for yellow. Maybe. I don't know.
That's a good point, actually. I never even thought about that. But I kind of want to go back to Marina's manipulations and how it makes Penelope kind of open her eyes a little bit as well. So, like when we look back at Daphne and Simon's wedding breakfast, she's trying to convince Marina, there are all these other eligible batch. Please just pick anyone else. And this is when Marina kind of starts to get the inklings of, I know he's your friend, but like, just get over it. Like, he's a good man. He'll treat me well, rada rada. This is the part where I'm
That's the
actually,
same that's the same conversation that is like Francesca and the debutantes at the garden
yes,
party. She
yes,
twists her words back on her. Like, what do you want me to be with an unkind man or like
yes.
a beast or whatever? Yeah.
Yes. But it's interesting that Marina, and this is one of the things that tells me that Marina is not a good person because as soon as she doesn't get away, as soon as Penelope is not agreeable, like she always says, immediately Marina starts with the emotional manipulation of, well, you want me to be unhappy then. And it is such a
Mhm.
narcissistic move to immediately twist something back on someone else when you know you were doing the wrong thing and you twist it on someone else to make someone else be to blame and as if they're being unreasonable and cruel for not wanting your
Mhm.
happiness, even if it
So I
costs
don't
others
deserve
theirs.
someone who's kind to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it was immediately she jumped to emotional manipulation. And Penelope's had enough of that from both her mother and her sisters her whole entire life, enough to recognize it when it's happening. And I think she really thought Marina wasn't like that. And I think
Hmm.
if Marina
I
wasn't
don't
put
think
in,
it was I don't think it was recognizing it for what it is as, oh, you're emotionally manipulating me to where Penelope could navigate around it,
yes,
but she recognized the feeling of it and the
yes.
and how she felt, oh, you are just like my.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think it wasn't
you are
until
just like my sisters.
I
Yeah.
think it wasn't until the later conversation, but this one kind of starts that because then Marina goes off and she's looking for Colin because she wants to take him into a room to try and seduce him in order to trick her into a marriage. Sorry, Colin into a marriage. I'm actually a little bit surprised that Penelope didn't do something here to interfere because if he had compromised her at all, that was game over for Penelope. Because we see that's when she gets like
But
really
that's why it
desperate.
didn't end up in Whistledown, because if
Yes,
it would have ended up in Whistledown, he would have been done.
he
Because
would have
I
been done.
think that he already felt like he was done, because when you look at the courtship scene where they're sitting on the settee together and Penelope has the
Yeah.
puppy and the lady Whistledown is reading over it and it's talking about Marina Thompson is soon to be swept off her pretty little feet,
Feet.
and she's
Hmm.
digging at Portia about the
Hmm.
pretty little feet because Portia's like, is she so high in her instep she can't put on her
Can't
own
but
slippers?
can't don her own.
Yeah, so that was a dig at Portia, but
Yes.
Penelope actually set the ball rolling where Colin felt like this is what I have to do.
Yes.
People are talking, people think I'm going to propose to her, so I have to. I think that's why he so quickly proposed in that room with the door
Yes.
shut.
Yes.
Like, I don't want to compromise her. I don't want to compromise her family because that's Penn and
This is
everything
what's
else.
expected of me. I've tried to be what the Ton expects me to be. Who the Ton
But
expects me to be.
you just triggered something in my brain about how she gets so icky with Penelope and then gets Colin in a room.
Yes.
She knows she's got to trap Colin somehow. Colin is a slow mover, right? She's got to get him somewhere, but she's got to feel okay with doing it. And I think that moment I mean, what I know about narcissistic behavior, and when people don't like feeling the ick about something they are doing that they know is wrong, she deflects it onto Penelope. She picks a fight with Penelope so she can be mad at Penelope because she
Yes.
knows what she's about to do is going to hurt.
Yeah.
And I think that actually shows, as crappy as it is, it actually shows a little bit of humanity on Marina's part, that
I don't
to be
hate
able to
Marina.
do, I don't either,
I think
to
she's
be able to
desperate.
do what she needed to do, she had to pick a fight with Penn so that she could feel anger towards Penn, so
Yes.
that she could do it, because she really doesn't care about Colin at all.
I think she
But
does
she does care
genuinely
about Penn.
I think she
She
does
cares about
genuinely
Penn.
care about Penn, but just not enough that she's willing to put Penelope above herself, which, I mean, fair but not fair, you know?
Well, and as I also was told by a friend of mine in the past, I think she just believed that no matter what she did, the ends justify the means, and she
Yes.
felt like Penelope
Which
would
is
forgive her
which is
eventually.
why the Lady Whistledown article was so scathing to say what you have done is unforgivable. And she doesn't just say it once, she doubles down. And even after the fact, she's still digging that hole for Marina because she is done. And that kind of plays into Eloise in the scene as well, because, you know, she's just had Marina saying, I'm about to go off and seduce your man. This is going to be a done deal. And then Eloise and Penelope bump into each other and they've had that fight. And Eloise is like, oh, here I am, just a pretty little Bridgerton. Um, and she's feeling it. Neither of them know how to repair in this moment because both of them are still
Oh,
too deep in their own feelings. Penelope's got everything with Marina and Colin going on, and I think that part of the reason she can't repair with Eloise is because she knows that Marina is pregnant. She knows that she is trying to trap Eloise's brother, and she feels like she's probably not doing enough to stop it as Eloise's friend, not as a girl in love with Colin, but as Eloise's friend. She probably feels like she's failing Eloise in a way as well by not stopping this entrapment. So she's like, look, I can't deal with these feelings with you. They both look down, they both avoid each other. Yep. You know, there's just too much going on for repair to be happening right now.
yeah. They both need each other in that moment, but they
Yeah.
don't know how to go beyond their own thing. That repair is not an option right now, but they are in within each other's vicinity because they need to draw from each other a
Yeah.
little bit. Like their proximity is providing support, even if they cannot emotionally do it at this
Yes.
time.
Yes. And then kind of the next scene that plays in with Marina is Marina and all the Featherington gals in the drawing room where Marina comments on how pretty, this is the day after, how pretty Penelope
Mm-hmm.
looks, which Penelope immediately takes as mocking. I think Marina genuinely felt it and she said it, but she said it specifically to try and play a path of calmness with Penelope. So even though it was a true compliment, the reason for it was manipulative. But obviously, that is exactly how Penelope took it because she is so used to every word in that house being a weapon. Nothing is ever said in that house out of kindness and genuine honesty. It is always used as a weapon against someone else.
Yeah, and I think that this also, I think the scripting and everything was trying to show Marina in a negative light. And I think
Yeah.
that's why the actress,
Stokes.
anyways, Ruby something. I think the reason she had so much issue with playing this role is because she saw the humanity in Marina
Barker.
where there
Barker.
Barker.
Yeah.
She saw the human so Stokes is the other Francesca,
Yeah.
right? I think she saw the humanity in Marina and she saw what Marina was going through. But a lot of the scripting and the way it plays out, is to show what Penn has had to go through to get her to the point where she's basically Gossip Girl, right? But it's also very narcissistic. Marina was not painted as a
Well,
three-dimensional character.
this next scene
to
is super manipulative and narcissistic.
Yeah, because that's typical for a narcissist who wants to keep you in their purview.
Yes.
That after they lash out at you and after they belittle you and make you feel crappy,
Yeah.
they do try and breadcrumb you with some little tidbit of something to bring
So-
you back in.
Yes. This is when Marina tries to win Penelope back by saying how much she respects and needs her as a friend. But Penelope's too sharp to fall for it at this point because she's had this her whole life with her family. And she knows that Marina is just using her as others have done, using her for her proximity to the Bridgertons, her knowledge of Colin, and as a what do you call it, like a an ally within the house against her mother. Marina tries to continue to emotionally manipulate Penelope by saying, "Please do not say that you regret our friendship." Oh, are you serious right now? You were going to try and emotionally manipulate that girl after you have just torn her down. I love that Pen doesn't even dignify it with a response, but says, "I would never bring scandal upon you or my family if that is what you are asking." Because Penelope knows the game at this point. She knows the double meanings. She's lived with the double meanings of the ton for so long. So she knows that even though Marina is saying, "Oh, our friendship," Penelope knows what she's really asking. Are you going to tell Colin that I am with child?
Yeah, like she's only caring about herself.
Yes. And then Portia comes into the room to take Marina to the Modis to get her trousseau ready. The Featherington girls look after Marina with envy as she goes to get a new wardrobe and a handsome husband. Prudence says not Prudence, Philippa says the two of them will make such beautiful babies, to which Prudence reminds her that he's not the father and are laughing. This is another moment where Penelope is like, how did I even come from this family? How are we even from the same cloth, like cut from the same cloth? Because she bites back at them for laughing at Colin, to which Prudence responds, "Well, you are no fun anymore." And Penelope replies, "Was I ever?" Like, I don't think there was
Okay,
ever a
okay.
time.
Let's have
I
since we're
don't
gonna talk relationships with Penelope, I know, like, okay, finish your sentence but I want to talk about this moment.
I don't think that there's ever a time in which the girls actually got along. I think it has always been Prudence and Philippa gaining up on Penelope her whole entire life. I don't think that Penelope was ever in on the joke. I think Penelope has always been the joke.
Now I think sometimes Philippa tried to include her, but
Mm,
in season one it doesn't look that way. But
yeah.
I think that Philippa tried because she's the middle child, and but that there was too much established antagonism with Prudence and Penelope for it. But as we're talking sister relationship and how the sisters play into Penelope becoming Penelope and Lady Whistledown,
Yes.
why do we see so much jealousy? This makes how they act when she gets Colin Bridgerton
Yes.
so much worse, because it's okay if it's Marina.
Yes.
Marina's lucky.
She's an
They're jealous
outsider.
she gets to go get a trousseau. And need I remind you, Penelope did not get a trousseau.
No.
Penelope had already just made all of her own dresses.
Yeah.
Penelope only got a wedding dress. Her mother planned a huge wedding breakfast, but not a trousseau. And Marina was getting the whole damn package, and they're fine with it.
Hmm.
What's the difference between Marina and Penelope to Prudence is what I'd like to know, because that's mostly Prudence. That's a Prudence thing. Yes, Philippa was just as jealous in season
And
3.
you know what? You know what the difference is they believe that at least Marina is beautiful, so it makes sense. But they do not view Penelope on the same level as what they do themselves, because they even say it. She is 2 stone heavier than she ought to be.
But
And that was
listen to
Philippa, wasn't it?
listen, yeah, well, yeah. And listen to what the media has us believing. This is Regency times. There is no way that a pregnant soil, damaged goods, they're called damaged goods,
Yes.
woman, no matter how beautiful she is, there's no way that anyone's going to be jealous of her situation.
Yep.
And Penelope is, well, she's sort of those things, just nobody knows about it. She's compromised, but nobody knows, right? Colin did a great job of keeping it private.
Yes.
But Marina, as she was in the state she was still considered worth Colin Bridgerton, where her sisters did not believe she was worth Colin Bridgerton.
Yes.
And that's disgusting to me.
It's cruel. Her sisters are just incredibly cruel to her.
And if we talk about all the closure we need to have about Marina, about why Colin even brought up Marina, about why did you do that to Marina and all that stuff,
Yes.
we need to talk about the closure we need to have of, like, you deserve this, Pen. Like, this is so much better for you. Like, you're so much better for him At
Yes.
least Colin was supposed to be part of this family, obviously, and I'm just glad he got with you and not with Marina. Like, there
Hmm.
needs to be some repair there. Like, they should have been bringing up Marina, not Colin.
Yes.
Ugh.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, I'm off my soapbox. Go ahead.
I'm not. The soapbox will continue. Yeah, it's just absolutely incredible to me the way that her sisters treat her. It is it's ugly and it's horrible. And I hate them for it. Honestly, like the way that they treat her is just despicable to me. Those are your sisters who are supposed to be in your corner, and they are the ones who don't believe that she deserves anything good because of her being 2 stone heavier than she ought to be. But I think this is all part of the creation of Lady Whistledown because in the next scene, we've got all the Featheringtons lining up, waiting for Marina to come downstairs. And this is the first time that we really see Penelope start to bite. This is where we see the Lady Whistledown personality coming out to play because this is one of my favorite verbal slapdowns that Penelope gives to Portia and Marina in the whole series. She is sick of the ruse that the ladies have concocted, and Penelope reminds them that Colin is young and naive, but that Lady Bridgerton is not. She is shrewd, and she will see right through their plans. And I love that Penelope is so incredibly smug about this because she knows I'm not even going to have to lift a finger. Like their greed is going to
Yeah.
be their own downfall because they think
Mm.
that they can outsmart one of the smartest ladies of the ton. And I love how much faith that she has in Violet. Like she's like, no, Mama Violet is going to come through. She's going to protect her children the way that parents are supposed to. This is the way that parents are supposed to protect their children. The way that my mother has not protected us, or specifically me. So I kind of love that she has so much faith in her, and then the dinner doesn't quite go that the way that Penelope wants. And this is when she kind of realizes that crap, I am gonna have to dirty my fingers here or dirty my hands. Like, I mean, Colin dirties his fingers. Um,
Whoa.
on that note, Colin leaves the room to go and find a gravy boat. And this is when Penelope follows him and says that she has a delicate matter to discuss. He can see that she like that she's in discomfort, and he tries to make a joke to try and like comfort her in the only way that he knows how, because he's like, oh, she's a
And
little
he
bit upset.
touches her arm.
And he touches her arm, like he's trying to comfort her. Like he clearly, like this is a woman that he cares about a lot. Before he realizes that it's actually a serious matter, like he can tell by her demeanor. And I love that he picks up on the nuances, like, oh, she's uncomfortable. I'll try a joke. Oh, actually, this is serious. I'm going to switch to serious mode. Penelope, what do you need? What can I help you with? And I love that he knows her so well and that he can swap between, okay, that's not what she needs from me right now. I'm switching to serious mode. And I love that kind of relationship and just how well he know, like how intuitive it shows us. You want to say that Colin is daft or that Colin isn't smart like Eloise, rah, rah, rah. Look how intuitive he is with her in this scene. Yes, he does misread the Marina situation, but that I think that was because he was so blinded by his own feelings and like trying to prove something of himself. I'm a man, I can do
I
this.
I have a different theory, but it's coming up towards the end of this conversation, so I'll
Okay.
get to my theory when we get there.
Um, and this is the part where I said, isn't it ironic that in this scene that she is wearing pink, her preferred color, and Marina has switched to yellow, which is very funny considering that Marina is not bubbly, happy, or sweet, in which the color yellow portrays her to be. She is melancholy. That's my point. I'm.
That's your point. Okay. So I was just waiting in case. So here's my thing. We see how intuitive Colin is when he knows of okay. And the thing is that when you look at the Bridgerton family,
Mhm.
how they're supposed to be in public, they barely can even do that. They get away with so much more because they are a 9 generations deep
Mhm.
title
Mhm.
family, but they are very authentically themselves, even from the jump. Daphne, we must make
Hey,
haste. These people are Colin has not had much experience in the world with people who are fake.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, we need to do Colin. We need to do a Colin analysis of this because I just thought of something else.
Okay.
Okay, so Penn comes up to him, and yes, he's like, "You're too good." Like he's comforting her. He's being very comforting, and then when he sees she's serious,
Yeah.
he gets serious because he respects her enough to, I mean, he does a little mansplaining, but he also is like, I appreciate what you're doing. You're such a good friend, but Marina and I are of the same mind, right?
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
he does not say this isn't a conversation like with Eloise. Think about the conversation with Eloise. Like, I love her. I know you don't want to hear it, Elle, but I love her. And all I can think about is her well-being and our future together and stuff like that, right? He
Yes.
very openly discusses how much he loves Penelope once everything's decided. Well,
Yes.
he and Marina are engaged, and he can't even say he loves her. He says, we are of the same
In
mind.
mind. Yes.
And then when Penn gets called, oh, your mother needs you, Penn, and it's Marina. Here's why I think Colin was blinded. Colin is not expecting false.
No.
Colin has not met anyone who is false. He understands that there's a little bit of playing around the truth in
Yes.
society, but people are who they are in Colin's world. Penn is very authentic. His family is very authentic.
And you know what?
He's never himself been manipulated yet. And
I went through the same thing.
he believes her. I went through the same thing. I was married to a narcissist.
No, what I mean is because I came from a family where my parents were each other's first. They got
Mm-hmm.
together at 15 and 18 years of age, respectively, and have been together for 50 something years since then. So when I
Mm-hmm.
got together with my first boyfriend, who was a narcissist, a manipulator,
Mm-hmm.
who hid all the things from me, I thought, but I come from a good family and I'm a good little Greek girl. I'm wifey material. So even though he may have done those things to other people, which I didn't find out about till later, obviously, but I'm different. I'm the exception, not the rule. And when you come from a family like that and it's all you've ever known and you've only ever known, kindness and genuineness and all your experience of love comes from either your family, your aunties and uncles or love books, you get
Mm-hmm.
lured into this false sense of security that if you do all the right things will happen to you in life. And so when it doesn't, it is like the gravest betrayal because how could that happen to me? I did all the right things, so why didn't the right outcome come? But that's just not the way that the world works, and it is naive, and we do have to learn those lessons. And I mean, we don't have to, but like, let's be real, most of us are going to learn those hard lessons.
Well, and I think that, in my world, I've seen mostly falls. I grew up in a family of if the world knew this, it would cause problems. So don't talk about the stuff outside of the house, right?
Yeah.
We had a lot of secrets that as a truth teller, it was very hard for me. But
Yes.
I do get the ick. I kind of see through people pretty quickly in most cases, but there are some cases where I don't. And usually those are people who are master manipulators and they mirror you, or like the one friend I talk about, she
Yes.
mirrored me a lot. She
Yes.
liked everything I liked and whatever. And my husband was kind of similar, my ex-husband, where he talked about a lot of things, like the him that came out after we got married and he tried to say this is who he's been all the time. I was blindsided
Yeah.
completely, because it was almost the teetotal opposite of what he presented to me in the beginning. And I think that Colin got caught up in Whistledown. I think he did read them or heard of them a lot because Whistledown was the new hot thing, right?
Yes.
And people were starting to take Whistledown for gospel by this
Yes.
point. And I think that he really was believing everything Marina said. And I think part of it, he was questioning it. I think he was intuitive enough that he was questioning it, like with the line of, it doesn't matter what kind of flowers I bring you, you have the equal
Yeah.
amount of
Enthusiasm.
enthusiasm for, I might bring you a tomato plant, like
A
something
bushel of
boring
tomatoes.
and whatever,
Yes.
just to see what she would, like, I think he was being sarcastic with her in a way, like teasing it out, but Penn
Yeah.
got involved. And then the whole thing about, oh, how are you feeling? And she's like, oh, yeah, I was sick. He goes, yeah, that illness, manifested into this old man with very large teeth,
Yeah.
you know? I think he was questioning, kind of, but he
That
also didn't
there was
understand.
some sort of secret going on, but he didn't
He
quite knew
just
that
couldn't put
what.
his finger on it right.
Yeah.
But in that moment, in that
Well,
hallway,
because at this point, I can almost all but promise you that he was a virgin. And then after the whole Antony's
oh yeah, he
comment about
was.
getting his wick wet, I think that that's where things kind of hit him hard that maybe I need to be more traveled, like to protect myself. I need to learn
I
how
think
things
he
work.
traveled. I think he traveled, but I don't think he had that experience until
Second travel.
Penn was not writing him back.
I think it was second travel when it happened.
Yeah. I think it's like, fine, you don't want me anymore? Fine. Fine then. Fine.
I'll go get a new haircut and a new coat and I'll feel better.
Right. This is boy summer, right?
Hot
But
boy summer.
yeah, but I said a different word and I bleeped it out for myself.
Yeah.
But I think that in that moment, she doesn't know what Penelope told him yet. And she needs to up the ante, she thinks. And this is where she says she loves him.
Yes.
And she says it like, I love you. And she hugs him and she's appearing to be enthusiastic, but we see she's not.
It's very lackluster. And
I think that's like so many people are like, they just had this fight.
But he's also very unresponsive to that I love you. Like, oh, okay, that's nice.
For sure. Yeah. He hugs her and you don't see his face. You see her face.
Yeah.
But his whole body language is not
warm. It's not
like he's not gripping her. He's not. This is also the first time she's hugged him.
Yes.
And he's not like super like.
Yes. He's not affected. He's not affected by being in a vicinity at all like he is with Penelope. Like you can see.
Oh my gosh.
Even in season 2, he comes home and like his body aches to hug her. You can see it. Like whenever he gets to touch her hand, like he creates reasons to touch her. Whereas Marina, he's like, oh no, we've got a shut door, like hands off, no touchy. You know,
I'm gonna stand over here, right? Like he's standing far away from her. And she dares him. Like everything she's doing is kind of coming off like a dare.
Yeah, but Penelope, he has to be in her orbit. It is not a choice. It is a gravitational pull. It is something that is outside of his control.
And I can tell you, the minute Colin Bridgerton forgives 100% of all time, forgives Penelope, and no, it has nothing to do with sleeping on the couch. It's not even that late. It is the argument outside of the Modiste, and he's questioned her and got her thought process on everything. And he is remembering Marina because he has felt betrayed before, and he kind of feels betrayed by Penn, and that's why Marina's on the mind. And so he's thinking of Marina, and she's now thinking of Marina, right?
Yes.
But when he says, what good am I to you? And she's like, I love you.
Yeah.
I love you. Like there is so much passion in that I love you. He immediately, and that's why he stares at her. He's never felt energy like this before. And he has to kiss her
because
has to.
That was one of the points I wanted to make. Thank you so much for bringing it up and segueing, because he goes from her I love you, it being very lackluster, and then after I'm like, oh, when do I want to put this part? No, I'm just going to say it now. It's going to be out of order. I'm going to be jumping back and forth, so please try to keep up with my train of thought. Apologies to our listeners. When after the fact, when Daphne does the supervised visitation of Marina,
right.
And he says to her, if you had just told me your situation, I would have still married you. I would have taken care of you. I would have protected you, because that is how in love I believed myself to be. But now I know it was all a lie. And you know what she says to him? About how much she loved George, and you were the only man who offered me even a modicum of happiness. Not I loved you, not I was in love with you, not I was excited to be your wife as well. Nothing about Colin, just you offered me some happiness. Not even lots, not even a bushel of happiness, some happiness. And to me, that was a really, really cruel thing to say. And like, I understand that she was using Colin, but to say it so harshly like that of you were just the best option.
Yes. And again, the reason I clapped over bringing that up is because I see that line differently, because he still doesn't say I love you.
No, how much I believed myself to be.
So much.
I believed myself to be. I tricked myself into thinking.
I believed myself to be in love, and I don't even think.
And then when I truly felt it, then I knew that was love with Penelope.
Yes, but I think in that moment, I think again, and this gets into the point I want to make when we talk about that last scene of them at Daphne's ball.
Yeah.
But I think Colin is cognizant of his feelings for Penelope. He just believes that is an off limits thing. And I think that Marina became not just a way to save Penelope, but he knew Marina needed saved. And he knew that Penelope wanted her to be saved, because remember that one day on the dance floor, she goes, I think she's in serious need of rescuing.
Yes.
And he immediately jumped to do what Penn wanted, right?
Yes.
So I think that line of I would have still married you, that's how much I believe myself to be in love. I
Mm-hmm.
still think that's I love Penelope and she wanted you safe. She
Yeah,
wanted you rescued.
I can
And
see that.
so
Yeah.
I was willing to do it. And I think she knew that's what he meant because she has also seen these feelings are there and she knows Penelope's feelings, right?
Yes.
So I think that's why she said what she said. She dropped him down a peg
I,
or
s- I s-
two
I said what I said.
because she's heartbroken that this can't happen now,
Yeah.
right? Like, and she is a big part of that. She could have been kinder to Penn and she could have done this in a more kind way. And she
Mm-hmm.
sees that now. Colin is telling her that.
Yeah.
Colin's basically saying, Penn wanted me to save you and I was willing to do it.
Yeah.
And because she chose the mean girl route, this is now where she is.
Yeah. You
Right.
dug yourself this hole.
So she's upset and she lashes out at him, much like when she was upset, she lashed out at Penn.
Yeah.
So but that's how I see that line. I still think that is an homage to he cannot, especially with Daphne,
Yeah.
he definitely could not say, I love Penn so much, I was willing to marry you
Mm-hmm.
for her. Because she wanted you rescued. Like he couldn't be and I honestly don't think if he would have said those words out loud, it probably would have changed his life to actually speak the truth out loud.
Yeah.
So he would skirt around the truth, much like I think he skirted around the truth in the bedroom because he also said to Daphne, like, just wait till you see me. You'll see how in love I believe I am. But he
Yes.
still didn't even to Daphne
He kept
say,
saying, I
I love
believe
her.
myself in love
Right.
is the very important part. I'm not in
And
love. I believe I might be in love. I have feelings, some feelings. I don't
well,
know what they are.
and I think he hides a lot of what he's piecing out until he has it figured out. And then he acts, and it looks like he's acting impulsively and quickly, but he's not. So that's my take
Okay.
on that sentence. But now
So the next part is another thing that I've noticed that is kind of a fatal flaw in the Bridgerton writing. Penelope fakes sick.
what?
Surprise! Penelope fakes sick to get out of dinner with her mum's friend so she can go snooping in Portia's room. I find it highly improbable. Why would Penelope be snooping in Portia's room for something that would end the engagement between Marina and Colin? Like, make that make sense to me. How does she know that there is something that would end that engagement?
Because of the way her mother's act.
It still doesn't give me, like, she looks like she is searching for something specific. It wasn't when they gave us no inference of any kind of clues leading up to this to give us any indication of why Penelope would be searching. There was no, that writing looks
But
different.
Penelope pointed that out, that the writing looked different
After the
to
fact.
Marina. But yes, after the fact. Yes, after the fact. But Penelope probably noticed the writing looked different and was like, wait a minute.
But they should have said that. I noticed the writing looked different. And so I searched my mother's room and found this. But they didn't. They didn't add in those parts to come on, Bridgerton, make it make sense. To me, this was just a stupid poor writing.
I did, not I know.
Yeah. Yes.
We need to advance the plot, Tosh. We only have 8 episodes that are 55 minutes long.
She could have said, I noticed something was off with his writing, so I went and searched my mother's room. It would have taken 2 lines, 10 seconds of scripting, and it would have made it make sense. And they didn't. So it's lazy writing for me. So Marina gets home from the dinner to find Penelope in her room with the fake letters from George. Penelope really
from Varley.
Yeah. Fake George. Forge.
Right. Forge wrote these letters.
Because it's fake George. Forge someone's letters.
Fluke. Forge.
Come on. I'm a wordsmith.
That's perfection. I bow to you. I will give you that one. We are not worthy.
It's only because I've been watching an anime where his name is Lloyd Forger. So that's where it's come from. So Penelope really thought that proving George didn't write them would be enough to change Marina's mind, and she looks so heartbroken when she realizes that it changes nothing. And this is when Penelope realizes that Marina's bags are packed, and that this is my next point of lazy writing. Penelope sees Marina's bags packed, and oh, you're off to Gretna Green to get married. Where was those jumps to conclusions? Like this is Colin level of jumping to conclusions. Like where were any of the inferences? Where were the, oh yeah, I've been out to Gretna Green on my travels, or Gretna Green might be an interesting place to visit. Like how did Penelope jump to seeing a bag packed, which that girl is pregnant? Her Portia could have decided to send her back home. She could have been like there's so many reasons why her bags could have been packed, but oh no, Penelope jumps straight to where they're going off to go run away and get married. Like,
Well, not only that, her bags were in her trunk. Like, and Penelope starts looking around after she's acting the way she is. You just ransacked your mother's room. You're telling
yes,
me you sat in her room waiting for her, not knowing when she was coming back, and
yeah,
didn't take a peek?
yes. Like, so to me, this whole episode is just lazy writing, and they don't make it make sense, and it frustrates me because I like things
It's
to
a
be tied up with a
it's a
pretty bow.
it's advancing the plot, and before the recent writers strike, a letter did go out to a lot of streaming services that for their originals they were AI to write
Yeah,
sometimes. And
and
I'm
that
not saying that
and
happened here, but
AI does miss making things make sense. It misses the inferences that humans need for character development, for story development,
I'm
to,
telling
to,
you,
to progress things.
I told you that story when we were doing Sarah's Bridgerton love story
Yeah.
about how I put in my fan fiction,
Yes,
and
that was awful. Yeah.
all I asked for was to revise it for spelling errors and grammar, and it
And it changed the whole
completely,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
like it moved things around,
Yeah.
and it made something not make sense.
Yeah, which
And
is frustrating.
that's kind of how AI
Oh,
works. And I still like, I have the
well,
joke.
someone's popped home for a little midday delight, apparently.
Odd snacks. Oh wait.
My husband's definitely a pod snack. The sweet Patty.
Tell him it's my time.
Patty doesn't share.
I do not share. Um,
So this is where Marina seals her fate though, because
yeah.
this is what I was talking about before, not just Eloise. He doesn't just see you as Eloise, he sees you as Hyacinth, a child. I am a woman. I know things about the world. I know Colin better than you. Excuse me.
Well,
She
I
has
think
known him
she,
years. You
but
have,
I think she knows. I think she does know enough about Colin that she has figured out that he has an affinity for Penn. Whether we want to use the word love or not at this point, Marina understands.
and you know what?
And
Marina does
she's
know one
putting,
thing. Marina knows Colin in one way better than Penn. And you know what that way is? Marina knows how to manipulate him, and that is it.
yeah, because Marina knows that the second Colin needs somebody to save,
Yes.
especially if Penn says save her, he's going to do it. So as long as she plays a victim, that is why she came out and says, I don't think your family likes me. She played the victim because he has a savior complex. He's
Yes.
a white knight. He has a white knight syndrome, and he can't, and she sees like Colin has an affinity for Penn, and I think in season 1 Marina thinks it's just because Penn is treated so poorly by her
Yes.
family, even though Colin doesn't really know that. And Penn is treated so poorly by people out in society in the ton, and she's underestimated and all this stuff. And I think that she thinks this is what makes Colin interested in a woman. And oh, there's my Marina of it all. The whole reason Marina became a bigger deal to him than Penn, if we don't go with the all the obstacles there are,
Hmm.
is because Marina became more of a victim. She
Yeah.
took that victimness because Colin didn't know Penn yet as a grown up. He had not really been able to approach her and actually attempt to talk to her now
Yes.
that she's out and a
Because
debutante.
before he proposed, what does she say? I don't fit in anywhere. My own parents did not want me. The Featheringtons do not want me.
Your
No one
family doesn't
wants.
like me. Yeah,
Yeah, I,
yeah.
I need saving. Someone please save me. Someone protect me. And he's like, well, I can do that. I can be something to someone. That can be my purpose.
Yeah, I'm your family now.
Yes.
And that is why we had to have the second half. Okay, when we get into the second half, that's why we had to have the second half, because we had to get Colin beyond that, because he was being that for Penn.
Yeah.
He stood up for her to her mother, and he was like, we're a family, we're the Bridgertons, don't sully our Bridgerton name. He had to move beyond that, and he had to see Penn as a partner, so it
Yes.
wasn't another Marina situation.
And then, so the next part also has a big information drop for everyone of something that I realized on my rewatches. Because sometimes when you watch something, I think the first few times I watched it, I didn't, obviously, we didn't know that Penelope was Lady Whistledown at the time, and it's only when I've gone back with the mind of searching specifically for Lady Whistledown and Penelope scenes that I actually realized the order in which this played out. Penelope and Marina had their big bus stop. One moment. I'm gonna pause for a second. Have you unpaused?
Yeah, I've unpaused now. I
Okay.
was responding.
Apologies for the brief intermittence. My husband
You're not
popped.
getting one. We hit pause. You're just apologizing.
I know, but I don't actually remember what I was saying. I know I said something
Oh
about
yeah.
I forgot I said something about Marina, but I can't make the flow. I can't make it make
No,
sense, and therefore
you
I'm
had
going to.
gotten to, we were done with Marina, and you had said the next thing I wanted to discuss was,
So yeah, so Marina and Penelope have basically ended their friendship at this point. Sorry, Penelope knows that there is no coming back from this argument, and she is done protecting people who just continue to use her, abuse her, and hurt her. And at this point, she cares more for Colin and how he's going to come out of the situation than she does herself and her own family. I never made this scene makes sense until I rewatched it, knowing this yesterday. We see Penelope run up to Eloise, bawling her eyes out, and I thought it was because Colin is about to get engaged and she is lost to him forever. And then I realized the Lady Whistledown article starts reading before the scene. So it starts as all is fair in love and war, but some battles leave no victor, only a trail of broken hearts that make us wonder if the price we pay was ever worth the fight. The ones we love have the power to inflict the greatest scars, for what thing is more fragile than the human heart? Then we have the scene of Penelope running into Eloise's arms, sobbing her little heart out. The bond between man and bride is private. This is the part where she tells the Ton that Marina is pregnant. Colin has nothing to do with it, thus ending their engagement because Colin cannot go forward with it without ruining his family. So Penelope knows that by writing this, it cannot continue. But in doing so, she also, and because she literally implicates her own family in this article, like she is so mad at them. She's mad at her sisters for laughing at Colin. She's mad at her mum for going along with this plan and encouraging this plan. And she is not tolerating any of this from any of her family anymore. Because in the next episode, it starts as
well, wait, I have a perspective, but go ahead and read that part because it
well,
goes.
Miss Marina Thompson's recent fall from grace continues to echo through every drawing room in town. Days after it was revealed that her engagement to Colin Bridgerton was nothing more than a sham. Of course, a lady's disgrace does not merely tarnish her own name like the tars of the Thames. It also leaves a horrid smear on anyone nearby. Penelope did not just destroy Marina and by her family by implication, she explicitly went after her family with that statement saying, don't forget, the Featheringtons were complicit. They are also to blame. You also need to aim your anger and hatred towards the Featheringtons. Penelope specifically did that.
Yes, and that is I think that because it was days after it was announced.
Yes.
I think that was watching her mother try and extricate
Crawl her
herself
way out of the shit.
from the
Yes.
situation. Because, like, even that truth is rewritten in season 3, where she goes,
Yes.
you remember what happened when Marina's scheme was found out? Like, she wasn't part of it at all.
To be fair,
But
it was Marina's scheme. So Portia went
Yes.
along with it, but Portia had her own schemes,
But
and
that
Marina's like, well, this
conversation-
one's better.
yeah, that conversation did not occur with Penelope in the room. So
Yes.
there's not, Penelope can only hear stuff she's in the room for.
Yes.
So she did not know. She knew they were in cahoots because the way they were acting together, that they
Yes.
both were on the same page. But my perspective, and this isn't, I won't say it's my perspective. I say it's just another perspective because as you're reading that, I kind of had another idea because we know that Penn drives in the middle of the night. This is obviously the middle of the night because we always see Benedict and Eloise at the swings late at night as they're pondering life.
If this
right?
is Penelope's, we are at an hour 45. I actually wanted, I know we said we were going to return back to Anaylsis, but I actually want to do a one Penelope's episode before we go back because
this isn't about
so much.
Penelope's. This
Okay.
is about her Whistledown and Marina.
Okay, cool.
I'm just bringing up, like, we know how late it is because Eloise is at the swings. Like, they always
Yes.
meet out there or sit out there late
Yes.
as they muse over life, the universe, and everything.
Hmm.
So we know that's late. So we know she's already dropped off the whistle down and it's going to come out in the morning. What Penelope doesn't know is when they are leaving. So I think when she wrote this whistle down, she knew it would do one of two things. It would either end the marriage altogether or they would have already left, and her heart is so broken, that whole like your loved ones can do the most damage, and there's nothing more tender than a little heart or whatever it says. I think in that moment she was obliterating the relationship between the Featheringtons and the Bridgertons, and she
Mm.
was in on one side, she's sacrificing her family to save Colin, and that's what ended up happening.
Yeah.
But if Colin had shown up earlier, if he had gotten up earlier and he had gone to get her in the middle of the night, and it wasn't a dawn where we ride at dawn because there was light outside.
Yes.
If it would have been I'll
Hmm.
bribe the maid to meet you under the moonlight, right?
Yes.
If they would have left late, then everyone would be reading this after it was already done. It was a
Hmm.
done deal. They're
Hmm.
already gone. So she knew one of two things was going to happen. Either A, she is sacrificing her family to save Colin, and she will be fine in that, but
Hmm.
she understands her relationship with the Bridgertons is ended because they cannot associate with her because she is now part of a tarnished family. Think
Yes.
of how upset Lizzie was with Lydia.
Yes. Yeah.
Or B, Colin will be married to Marina.
Hmm.
Regardless of where he is, she knows the Bridgertons are not going to cast him out. He may have to live in the country. He
Hmm.
may not be a part of society, but he will still constantly be a part of the Bridgertons.
Yes.
And so she put C4 to the relationship between her family and the Bridgertons so that she would not have to watch Colin be married to Marina.
Hmm.
So either way, she's not only sacrificed her own family, she also sacrificed what tenuous relationship the Featheringtons and the Bridgertons had currently, even though that tenuousness was only her connection to them. So
Yes.
she was bombing her relationship to the Bridgertons, not knowing what the outcome was going to be. But either way, she knew she had to give them up and lose them either to save Colin or to protect herself.
Yeah. But when I originally read that Lady Whistledown article, I just presumed that Penelope's like absolute because she was heartbroken. Like that is a girl
Because,
who is like just about in hysteria. Like that is almost panic attack level. And I actually think that we see Penelope have panic attacks a few times in the show, not just the once in season
yes.
3. We see
And
her
think about it.
really melting.
If she wrote this whistle down, either way she wrote it, she was expecting to have zero friendship with her
Yes.
best friend from
She
now
was
on.
bombing her own
So,
life.
yeah. So that was her heart is broken. She is losing the man she has loved forever. Either he's getting
She's had to
married.
choose between her family and his.
Yeah. Either she saves him, but she ruins herself, so there's no chance of
Yeah.
him ever loving her.
Yeah.
Or he marries Marina and she obliterates the
And
relationship so she's not stuck in a drawing room
And
watch them.
not just that, by writing this article, she implicates herself to him and Eloise that she knew that Marina was pregnant the entire time and she did not tell them or warn them. And this is when that whole season 3, I tried to, like, why didn't you tell me? I know.
And why is that coming up in season 3?
Yeah.
Yes, I understand they're mad that she's Whistledown, but she did implicate the Featherington family of knowing this.
Yeah.
That includes her.
Mm-hmm.
And Eloise, and this was brought up in voice note, and I'm going to say this here and now that this was your idea, but I'm bringing it up because I think you're forgetting it. Eloise should have known.
I was saving it for Penelope's episode.
But Eloise should have known. There's enough. Like, Eloise is not dumb.
No.
There's enough that she should have known that the maid was
Yes.
Marina at this point.
Yes.
Why does that not get brought up?
Yes. So,
but that was your idea.
Yeah, that's okay. But I was going to save it, but it's okay to bring.
I mean, it needs to go there for that, but we'll dig in later.
Yeah, we'll dig into that. But yes, Eloise is very smart. They've been talking about this all season about pregnant women and how they become pregnant. Eloise should have figured it out. Even if not right in that moment, she should have figured it out later, but she doesn't. But
So this is in regards to that last scene where Marina's gone. He's coming up to apologize to Penelope because Colin
I
is
yeah
the
no no
best apologizer ever.
I think we do a Colin Penn like end. I think we need to do a whole another episode because there's just too much still left to go in the last few
Well, what if
episodes.
we do what can we give them? Because we have the Bridgerton bros as a triangle. So what love triangle name can we give to Colin, Eloise, and Penn? Colin, Colin, Peneloise,
Capetheles. Capetheles.
Peneloise, Peneloise,
Peneloise.
Peneloise.
Poison. Poison.
But that's Eloise's whole name. Well, she
Poison.
does take up this, and she has to be in the middle. She's
Yeah.
in the middle. Pen, Eloise, in.
Yeah. She's always in the middle of these two.
We're gonna do a Peneloise episode, and we'll talk about this. So you can cut this whole last part and then add the end.
Yeah, because
like, cut this out.
Yeah. So we still have a lot left that we want to discuss between Penelope, Colin, sort of Marina, the aftermath of Marina and Eloise. And I have a lot that I want to discuss because I actually, from the start of season 1 to the end of season 1, the relationship changed between Eloise and not so much Penelope changing, but Eloise actually making huge changes.
Huge leaps.
For Penelope, and they are massive. And I actually think that it proves that she has really good intentions as a friend. And sometimes we do overlook some of these things. But for today, gentle listeners, we will leave it there and continue on next week's episode. We will get back to the analysis episodes, the episode analysis.
You guys chose Penelope, and she is literally the most complex character of the show. This is on you.
We have a lot of words, okay? If you have anything in particular you would like us to cover or any Bridgerton knowledge you would like to share, please head to our Facebook page, The Ladies Bridgerton. And if you're enjoying our podcast, please remember to click follow, like, subscribe, comment on all of our platforms. There are many.
Well, there's not as many as there could be, but we have limitations.
Yeah.
We're trying, and we're doing our best. So for we want to thank you though for listening to the musings of two mad women.
Yours truly, Tash the Kiwi
and Lady Patty.